Sure. So this is the list of the metrics, and we're gonna pick any one of those. Let's
source
go
IP
with,
maybe, or I don't.
Source IP we decide to hard code, so
Yeah,
probably
okay,
there's
okay, okay.
no way, no need to tweak the metrics definition file. We can go with historical max users, or let's say GitLab clusters, because this might be a trickier one in terms of checking if it's actually database or whatever it starts. So first, and this step probably wouldn't be done by you, but somebody who's gonna review the merge request to confirm that actually it's the database or it's actually Redis, like what source it is. But for sake of being transparent, I will simply start from this point. So go to metrics dictionary, and
maybe it's dot in between instead of underscore, if I'm not wrong, or not.
That's
Yes.
Yep. Okay, that was
yeah,
first
that's
confusion.
the case.
Okay. So yeah, it's marked here as database. So it going through the metrics dictionary also help us to get directly the file that we're gonna edit, which is quite nice, I guess. You could just go and open in Web IDE. And simply change data source to whatever matches. But in this case, let's just check because it seems a little bit odd to me that it's Redis. Probably it would be system, which means that we reach to the host system rather than the Redis storage to get this information. And this step, as I mentioned, will not be handled by you probably, but rather by somebody reviewing. I'm going to the usage data file because it's one of the oldest. The oldest metrics were recorded in this file. Then we move to the different framework, which is more modularized. But it looks like it was quite old metric, so I'm just starting here. Yeah, so you can see this is Kitali and the nested metric clusters, which would be translated. The key path is built basically as the flattened structure of metric location in the JSON payload. So this kind of nesting is matching what we've seen in there. So Git clusters. And we can see this is using alternative usage data and is trying to call some method which doesn't seem to go into the actual database. Yep, it's using the configuration. So it's not Redis, and it's not a database. So what we can check, just to make it easier.
Could I pause you? I guess I'm a little lost.
Yeah.
It looks like this file is showing Redis as the data source, but I'm looking at my own copy of this YAML file, and at least at this time, it clearly shows the data source as database. So I'm curious if I'm missing something, if something changed. Was I looking at the wrong file? There's some.
Right. Sorry, it's my fault. At first, I made the assumption that because you mentioned it was present in Redis, but marked as in Redis API, but was marked as the database. So I made an assumption out of that it's Redis metric. But then I just go to the code and like I followed my assumption. So what I'm trying to do now is figure out what actual source it is to verify my assumption that it's Redis. But we already proved right now that this assumption is wrong, the same as the database. So we are checking other options. We can go to the docs to just also have it on the recording. We have a couple of different data sources and data sources. Suggestions. Do we have it explained somewhere? We should.
In the table, if you just scroll up a little bit, yeah. There you go.
Here it is, data source. So we have database, Redis, HLL, Prometheus, and system. So in this case, it would be a system because we are driving it from the config file, which we can see when we follow the path from the usage data, which collects. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, Nikolai. Just to follow up on what you said, just to clarify for myself, it means if you change this from database to system, it will disappear from our payload, right? Because we pick up either database or Redis, or how it will behave now if you change to system, let's say.
Well, from my point of view, Radovan, there are already some metrics that are they're defined as system in the YAML file, but let's say they're in the Redis payload. I didn't want to drop them. So actually anything that's non-database is kept. So if we went with this logic where we adjusted it from database to system, it would be okay for us.
That's perfect explanation. I just want to combine two knowledge of two of you, just to be sure.
Awesome. And thank you very much for asking these questions. And actually, if we look at the API, as far as I remember, it's non-SQL and SQL. So non-SQL encompasses more than Redis, but because most of it's Redis, we kind of simplified it.
But it's not just Redis, right? Not only Redis.
Non-SQL. So
no Redis or no SQL.
Yeah.
Good, got it.
So in this case, it's system like all the other settings, because when we followed, in the end, we see that we are reaching to the GitLab config. So we can go back now to the web IDE, since we learned that this is neither the database nor Redis, but rather system. Let me just copy it through to make sure that I am not making a typo. Okay. And well, basically with this change, you can create commit, create new branch. You can name branch as you want, basically.
And there are special rules about the commit message. Otherwise, you get like an error or a warning in the pipeline. So make sure to, I'm sure Nikolai will demonstrate how to do it properly. But anytime I update, I always, I don't capitalize the first letter, or I don't have like a long enough message, and someone has to go fix the commit history for me because it doesn't like it.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah, you need to capitalize, and the first line of the commit message cannot have more than 50 characters. The rest of them, I believe it's 90, but I'm not sure about that. I think this is a really good opportunity for the group that owns the web IDE to apply the commit templates, because when I'm using Git through the terminal, I have the commit template that show me the limits and requirements, so I don't overstep them. But here, it can be a little bit harder to notice, but let's keep it simple. So I would say that's like to keep it simple, just squeeze the first, capitalize the first line, squeeze it as possible. The rest should be fine. So. And that should be basically it. You can apply product intelligence label. And then just ping anyone from our team, basically for review. And even if you don't know the source and you don't really want to follow the path that I did, I would say make an educated guess what it should be like. If it sounds more like Redis, then mark this as Redis or mark this as system, and just add a comment that you are not really sure and ask for help, because like for us it should be easier probably, because we are more familiar with the codes and we're happy to collaborate here.
Great one, definitely. Thanks, Nikolai. More than clear for us. I mean, now we know the process actually. We'll try to be very careful with that. My question on as a follow-up on this is, can we screw up something seriously? Because I don't know who is still using this file in case we did some typos like the base or something. Is it kind of safe?
I think that you are, I think you are the main user, like you as a data team are the main user of these files. Also, if there's something really, really wrong, the automated test should catch it out. So
that's great. So there is a set of pipelines, check the code and validity of YAML file, let's say, or something.
Yeah.
Just to guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And from an analysis perspective, we're not really basing a lot of analysis on that field. Like the data source, like if the key path changed, that would be really bad. But the data source field, I don't think it really matters for us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. Okay, I think we have clear steps forward, right? Everyone agree?
I agree.
Justin, you feel comfortable with this?
Yeah. So just to be clear, our group is going to be the one like to make this change then, right? For like the.
Yeah, I'm actually happy to do it. I can do it right now this morning. I have a pretty good intuition for which ones should, what the data sources should be. And if not, I'm sure product intelligence will catch it. So I'm happy to just do it. Nikolai, if you could just drop the link to that MR in the chat. And I'll just go ahead and do that. And I'll, of course, tag everyone on the MR. We can get a review from product intelligence. But once that is updated, Justin, for like every subsequent ping should just, those metrics should roll in, shouldn't they?
Exactly.
And also 2 cents from my side, it would be also great to put 1-2 sentences in Handbook regarding the process and connect with this MR as a template for us. We can use it later on. Like if something happened and no one is here, let's say I catch that problematic and need to change it, it will be good to recall. So this video session, recorded session plus that MR in Handbook with 2 sentences will be perfect. I can take it with me, Justin, you can take it, Miles can take it, anyone can take it because it's super simple and super handy for us.
One additional side, like off recording notes, Miles, if you want to continue work, I would suggest to not continue work in this MR, like close it and leave it as the example, but redo the work in the separate one, because I committed to this merge request, I cannot approve it and I cannot merge it. How the security rules works. So if you want to just streamline the work, you can assign when you update all the metrics files, you can assign the merge request to me for the review, and you can just move it along. But I cannot contribute to this merge request commits because it would be blocked for me either way.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. I'll start a new branch with the new MR. Either Radovan or Justin, if you could take the handbook documentation piece.
I will take the handbook documentation. Just will wait for your link for a recorded session for this one, and we are fine. I will do that immediately just to not forget.
Sounds great. I'll stop the recording now.
But I'll kindly